My mother-in-law introduced me as her son's friend at our wedding. After his accident, I discovered how he'd been protecting me all along. I never thought I'd be fighting my in-laws for what's rightfully mine while my husband lies in a hospital bed. But here I am, caught in a nightmare that started the moment I married into a family that saw me as nothing but an outsider. When I met my husband 6 years ago, it was like something out of a movie. We connected instantly over coffee after bumping into each other at a bookstore. He was kind, intelligent, and looked at me like I was the only person in the room. Within a year, we were engaged, and I was floating on cloud 9. Then I met his family. They come from old money and social connections I couldn't even comprehend. My background? I grew up in a small town, raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs to put me through community college. I worked my way up from retail to a decent office job. Nothing fancy, but I was proud of it. His mother looked me up and down at our first meeting like I was something she'd found stuck to her designer shoe. His father barely acknowledged me. His sister was polite but cold. The message was clear: I wasn't good enough. I didn't belong in their world. My husband defended me, but there was always tension. We decided to have a small wedding instead of the lavish affair his family expected. They attended but made their disapproval known in 100 subtle ways. His mother accidentally introduced me as his friend to several guests. His father made a toast that felt more like a eulogy for his son's future. We built our life anyway. My husband started his own business, separate from his family's empire. We bought a modest house. We were happy, despite the Cold War with his family that never quite ended. They'd invite us to events where I'd be subtly insulted or ignored. My husband would get angry, we'd leave early, and the cycle would continue. Then, 3 weeks ago, everything shattered. My husband was in a car accident. A drunk driver hit him on his way home from work. When I got the call, my world stopped. I rushed to the hospital to find him unconscious, hooked up to machines, his body broken. The doctors said he had severe head trauma and multiple internal injuries. They weren't sure when, or if, he would wake up. I barely left his side for the first 48 hours. That's when they showed up, his parents and sister, with their family lawyer in tow. "We'll be taking over his care now," his mother announced, not even looking at me. "The family has access to better specialists." I was exhausted and terrified, but I stood my ground. "I'm his wife. I make the medical decisions." The lawyer cleared his throat. "Actually, there are some questions about that. His parents believe you may not have his best interests at heart." That was just the beginning. Within days, they were challenging everything. They claimed our marriage wasn't valid. They tried to restrict my hospital visits. They started proceedings to gain control of our house, claiming my husband had used family money for the down payment. When I went home to shower and change clothes, I found the locks changed. His sister was inside, going through our things. She claimed she was securing family heirlooms. I had to call the police to get into my own home. The worst part, some of the hospital staff started treating me differently. Money talks, and his family had plenty of it. I overheard nurses whispering, wondering if I was just after his money. I was alone, fighting a war on multiple fronts while the love of my life lay unconscious, unaware of the battle raging around him. Then I found it. I was searching our home office for insurance documents when I discovered a hidden compartment in his desk. Inside was a sealed envelope with my name on it, along with a flash drive and a small notebook. The letter started, "My love, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I've always worried about what my family might do if they had the chance." He had documented everything. Years of threats from his family. Recordings of conversations where they tried to bribe him to leave me. Screenshots of texts from his mother suggesting better matches from appropriate families. Financial records proving every penny of our life together came from his own earnings, not family money. Most importantly, there was a properly executed will, updated just months ago, leaving everything to me. And a separate letter to his family's longtime attorney, not the shark they brought to the hospital, but the older man who'd handled their affairs for decades, instructing him to protect me at all costs. The notebook contained account numbers, passwords, and contacts for people who could help me. My husband had prepared for the worst, knowing exactly what his family was capable of. I called the attorney the next morning. He wasn't surprised to hear from me. "I've been expecting your call," he said quietly. "I couldn't reach out first due to client confidentiality, but I've been hoping you'd find his contingency plan." 2 days later, we met his family and their lawyer in the hospital conference room. They were smirking, confident in their power. His mother was already talking about moving him to a private facility where I would have scheduled visiting hours. Then our attorney laid out the documents. Their faces changed as they realized what my husband had done. He hadn't just protected me legally, he'd created an airtight case that would expose their behavior if they pushed further. Additionally, our attorney said calmly, my client has instructed me that if this harassment continues, these recordings and documentation will be sent to every business associate and social connection the family has. I believe that would be uncomfortable for everyone involved. His mother turned white. His father started shouting. His sister just stared at me with pure hatred. They left the hospital in a fury, but the attacks stopped. The locks on our house were changed back. The whispers at the hospital faded away. I returned to my vigil at my husband's bedside, holding his hand, talking to him, playing his favorite music. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. His brain activity was increasing. They thought he might wake up soon. Yesterday, he squeezed my hand for the first time. I don't know what happens next. I don't know if his family will try again or if they'll stay away. I don't know how long his recovery will take or what challenges we'll face. But I know this. He protected me when he couldn't be here to fight beside me. He knew exactly who his family was and made sure they couldn't hurt me or take what we built together. And when he opens his eyes, I'll be the one sitting next to him, not them. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and I'm writing this from a chair beside my husband's hospital bed with some incredible news. He's awake. 3 days ago, while I was reading to him from his favorite book, he suddenly squeezed my hand hard enough to make me stop mid-sentence. When I looked up, his eyes were open. He couldn't speak because of the breathing tube, but he was looking right at me. The doctors rushed in, and within hours, they were removing the ventilator. His first raspy words were, "Are you okay?" Not what happened, or where am I, but concern for me. That's the man I married. His recovery is going to be long. The head trauma affected his motor skills on his right side, and he'll need extensive physical therapy. His speech is slightly slurred, but the neurologist says that should improve with time. Cognitively, he seems intact. He remembers me, our life together, and unfortunately, his family. I waited until he was stronger before telling him what happened while he was unconscious. He wasn't surprised. He just nodded slowly and said, "So you found it." When I asked why he never told me about his contingency plan, he said he hoped I'd never need to know about it. He didn't want me to worry. His family tried to visit yesterday. The nurse called me to let me know they were demanding access to his room. By the time I got back to the hospital, my husband had already refused to see them. The nurse said he became agitated when told they were there, and his doctor backed his decision, citing his condition. I did receive a text from his sister later that evening. "This isn't over. He's not thinking clearly." I showed it to our attorney, who added it to the file. "We're documenting everything." The most surprising development came this morning. My husband asked for his phone and, with shaking hands, made a call to his family's company. He removed himself from the board of directors and relinquished his shares back to the company, with the stipulation that they can never be offered to his immediate family members. He effectively cut his last tie to their world. "I should have done this years ago," he told me afterward. "I kept thinking they'd change, that they'd eventually accept you. Accept us. I was stupid." I don't think he was stupid. I think he wanted to believe the best about the people who raised him. That's one of the things I love about him, his capacity for hope. We have a long road ahead. Months of therapy and recovery. But for the first time since the accident, I'm sleeping through the night. He's alive. He's still himself. And we're facing whatever comes next together. His family may not be done with us, but we're done with them. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my husband woke up, and our lives have taken unexpected turns, some challenging, some surprisingly positive. The physical recovery has been grueling. My husband spends 4 hours a day in various therapies. His right side is slowly regaining strength, but he still uses a cane and likely will for several more months. His speech has improved dramatically, though he still struggles when he's tired. The cognitive tests show no lasting damage, which the doctors call miraculous, given the severity of his injuries. I've taken family leave from my job to help with his recovery, which his family somehow found out about. Last month, I received a certified letter from their attorney offering a settlement, a significant sum of money if I would divorce my husband and allow the family to care for him properly. The letter implied I was staying with him out of financial necessity rather than love. I showed it to my husband, who laughed for the first time since the accident. "They really don't get it, do they?" he said. Our attorney sent a response that I'm told was both legally sound and, in his words, creatively scathing. The real shock came 2 weeks ago when my husband's elderly uncle, his father's brother who had lived abroad for decades, showed up at our door. I was wary at first, thinking he might be another family emissary, but he quickly proved otherwise. "I've watched this family destroy relationships for 3 generations," he told us over coffee at our kitchen table. "I couldn't stand by anymore." It turns out this uncle had his own history of being ostracized by the family for marrying someone they deemed unsuitable, his husband of 40 years. They've built a wonderful life in Europe, far from the family's influence. He'd kept minimal contact over the years but followed the family gossip enough to hear about my husband's accident and the ensuing drama. He's been visiting daily, bringing home-cooked meals and sharing family stories my husband never knew, the kind that don't get told at formal family dinners. Stories about how the family fortune was really made, about other relatives who were pushed out for not conforming, about the unhappiness behind the perfect facade. Yesterday, he brought over boxes of old photographs and letters that belonged to my husband's grandmother, items that would have been thrown away if he hadn't rescued them years ago. Among them, we found pictures of my husband's father as a young man, arm in arm with a woman who was clearly not from their social circle. My husband's uncle confirmed what we suspected. His father had his own unsuitable love before being pressured into an appropriate marriage with my husband's mother. He became the very thing he once hated, the uncle said sadly. That's how it works in this family. The cycle continues. My husband has been quiet since this revelation, processing what it means about his childhood and his relationship with his father. Last night, he told me, "I understand him better now, but I'll never become him. We're breaking the cycle." As for practical matters, we've decided to sell our house once my husband is stronger. Too many bad memories now, and his family knows where we live. We're looking at properties in a neighboring state, closer to where I grew up. My mother is thrilled. She's been my rock through all of this, driving hours to help whenever I've needed her. My husband is using his recovery time to plan a new business venture, something completely different from his previous work or his family's industry. He seems lighter somehow, despite the physical challenges. "Getting away from their shadow is worth all of this," he told me last week. "I just wish I'd done it sooner." We haven't heard directly from his parents or sister in weeks, though we know they're still watching us. Friends have reported being questioned about us. Our mail has been tampered with twice, but their power over our lives diminishes every day. The most beautiful moment came last night. We were looking through old photos, our photos, from our life together, and my husband suddenly took my hand. "Thank you for fighting for us when I couldn't," he said. "You were stronger than I ever was with them." I don't know if that's true. I just know I was fighting for the life and love we built together. And despite everything his family tried to take from us, they couldn't touch what matters most. We're going to be okay.